stream. Oh, I see. Add to stream. There we go. Now I see you. Can you hear me, Sam?
I can, Michael. Good morning.
Good, good. Were you able to hear me before, or were you not able to hear me before?
No, I heard nothing until the picture showed up.
Okay, great. So I want to. We're on this tool right now that's live. Going to be live both on YouTube and Facebook, and that means that people may be able to join us as we get through here. And interesting, I've got your name on there as Sam. I've got my name on there wrongly as used before sentencing, but that's okay. Let me see if I can change that because I'd like to use this tool. And one of the things that I think that we should be doing is creating these every day. You're on the East Coast, I'm on the West Coast, but I basically operate on East Coast time. It's only 6 o'clock in the morning. Of course, I've already been working for a little while, even though the day after the election, a lot going on. But what I want to talk with you about today is the work that we have been doing in developing the new website. And you had some questions for me this morning about sending out a broadcast email, and I want to share it with you. My thoughts were that I wanted you to have a couple of different options. And since you were going to be sharing this with other people, you could do it in a number of different ways. And I wanted to share my screen with you so that you would see it, and we could actually work through it together. And then this video will be a live video that will become a URL you could use as a teaching tool for the people with whom you interact. So is that, you want to try that so we could actually do it together? Okay. So I'm, not an expert in this platform yet. I was introduced to it by my partner, Justin, and I think it's a great tool because it allows me to produce content really easily. And we could do this actually every day. So I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to share this screen over here so I can keep you up over here, I guess. And I'm going to close out these different tools that I'm using here. And I want to go over that. I want to go over this tool that I gave you. And this is one of the tools. This is the way that I kind of I'm going to be organizing things. And this is so that because you are the first point of contact that speaks with people before they get sentenced. This is how I create it, right? Everything's got to be methodical and organized. So because I intend to run a lot of ads so that you can get on the phone with more people. And so you'll see how I kind of lay it out. And I've given you this two tools here. One of them are this 42-second ad, and one is a 60-second media ad that we will use to drive traffic to. And I can continue to refine those ads and improve the messaging. But we've also got a URL page. And so I want to click that URL page and show you what you would get. So if the only way somebody's going to get to this page, because it's not accessible through the website itself, the only way somebody's going to get to this page is if you sent them an email. Now, if you sent them an email, they would have access to download this form. They would also have access to this video where we're interviewing Judge Bennett, and he is actually talking about the importance of preparing before sentencing. And so I would like it if you were not only able to share it with somebody so that they can read about it, but also get the asset here. They could also go through, if they wanted to contact you, they could actually pull up the document itself. And all they have to do is click it. And when they click it, they store it to a place where they want to store it on their computer. And if they do that, they end up getting the document. And here's the document right here. So I want to tell you the purpose of this document, Sam. First of all, let me ask you, what level of familiarity do you have with this tool?
Well, with the overall process and use of something like this, I have a tremendous familiarity because I went through it.
Sure. What I'm asking you though about this particular tool, though, like I'm going to go ahead and move and remove all of these things. Okay, and let's talk about how you would have used this at the very start of your journey, how it may have influenced your decisions. And you could actually go through this in the same way that you would be working with some of the people with whom you communicate. So, like on the first question here, knowledge of the process, you see that you have 5 different boxes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right?
Yep.
Let's go back to that stage where you were at the beginning of your process. Which one of these would have been most appropriate for you? What is your knowledge, Sam? So, like, I'm going to be the guy that's talking to you, and this is something you could be doing while you're talking with your team. Which one of these can you read them well enough, or should I make it
It's a
big?
bit blurry. It's a bit
Okay,
blurry.
let's
So
see
you can
if
make
I
it
can
larger, that'd
make
be
it
great.
bigger, and I'm going to try to make it bigger if I can. Let's see. I can't apparently, sadly. I can't make it that. Oh,
Okay, I can manage.
actually, you have it on your screen. Now you can see it, right? If I get it to you there,
Oh,
there.
I can see it. I just might have to move up and back. So,
So I'm good. I think I can make now that cell bigger. Nope. There. I wonder why that
well, it's
doesn't.
cutting off too much of the grid, though.
Yeah, let's see if I don't know. Oh, I know why. Because I've got this thing frozen. Let me unfreeze these screens. Hold on a second. View. I'm going to unfreeze the screen. View. There. Now is it? Now it's still frozen. View. I want to unfreeze this. Shoot. How do I unfreeze the screen?
And we can go from. I have the spreadsheet here, so I can open up on my
You
computer.
have the spreadsheet. Yeah, but I want your consumers to be able to see it. That would be helpful if they could see it.
Well, why don't we go? You open up yours. I'll have mine open up simultaneously, so we can go through it on a real time basis. It's just I have mine. I can look at it a little clearer.
Yeah. Let me just okay, that's okay. Let's just I wish I knew how to unfreeze a screen really quickly. I know I can open up the older one that doesn't have the screen. Hold on a second. Let's see. That one does not have the screen. Okay, let's try that. I think I can do that. Hmm. Shoot, Sam, this is not helping our customers as much as I want. Well, okay, so go ahead and go through yours then. Let's just go
Okay.
through it question by question.
And something I want to point out is that keep in mind that when I first reach out to people, the overwhelming majority are at the very, very early stages of this journey. Most of them have just been charged or are under investigation. A fewer percentage of them have already accepted a plea. So there's a tremendous amount of a denial and a lack of knowledge at that point. So to think about sentencing and pre-sentencing is extremely premature for an overwhelming majority of the people I'm speaking with initially. So I want to point that out, which is why I think this guide can be so helpful because it stays away necessarily from the back end of the process and talks more about the overall process and the front end, which is something they need to be concerned with.
Yep. So continue. So tell me about what you would have been going through at that stage in the journey.
Well, I would have met with my attorney, and his initial reaction, or and mine, would be, "Let me do some." The attorney would have said, "Let me do some research. Let me go through the discovery, and I will get back to you." So I would have then been a point 3 or 4 under knowledge of process. I'm going to get around learning. I'm still in denial. I don't think this is happening. I can beat this, but I'll wait to get more news from my attorney.
Hmm.
Uh, As far as my relationship with the attorney, Uh, of course, up front, my attorney was my greatest friend. He wanted my business. And sure enough, within a week of him being paid, outside of the fact that it was challenging to get hold of him on the phone, and he was a nice fellow, but he was paid and probably on to the next client. So my fear and my goals of putting this out of my mind and knowing that I could easily beat this for a few months there between when I first retained him and my first meeting with Discovery, I was living in a black hole, truly a void, and that pretty much explained my relationship. until he had a chance to review discovery, which literally was a few months. I was panicking. I was in fear. I was in denial. I because the opaqueness of the process is so great. And the one person I'm relying on, who was just engaged and retained, said to me, "I'll get to it. I don't have anything yet. Relax. There's no rush." To him, there was no rush. To me, every minute of every day, there was concern for me and my family. So my goals and values did not, and my timelines did not relate to his timelines. So
So
again, I would say three to
on
four.
that scale of 0 to 10 on that spreadsheet, what would you have given yourself?
A 3 to 4.
A 3 to 4. So that's so you might pick one of them. So that's I'm going to get around to learning, but I'll wait until I get some news from my attorney. That's the stage that you would have been in.
Absolutely.
Okay, so give yourself a 3 or 4 right there. Go to the next one, your attorney relationship. Where would you score yourself at that point?
Also a 3,
Okay.
because my goals and values that had timelines did not coincide with my attorneys, and my sense of urgency was not his sense of urgency. So again, I would give that a 3.
Go to the next one, which is career implications. Where would you be there?
Well, because I had been retired at that point, I didn't put too much concern into what this might do to my career, and I was not looking to have another career. So I
Tell
don't
me
want to
about
say,
the people with whom you communicate. How are they?
oh, overwhelmingly, they are scared and concerned about what impact, if they're professionals, it will have on their licensing. They're concerned about the public relations issue they're going to have with their clients. They're concerned about what will happen even if they're not licensed, but they might be under the purview of the FTC or another state entity. What will that do to their licensing and ability to have a future income stream from their pre-exist or current business? And overwhelmingly, it's a lack of knowledge or a true fear. As a matter of fact, today at 11 o'clock, I'm speaking with a client that the whole point of this conversation is, what am I going to do? I have a family to worry about. I don't know if my current career path will support my family. I'm worried about how I'm going to support myself in prison. What am I going to do when I get home from prison? So overwhelmingly, everyone I talk to is concerned with this.
So that is what's important, is that you could give some guidance on what we have learned from having gone through the system for so many decades. How do you think about this early, and what steps can you take early to position yourself for a career on the other side? And but that's if that's something that your attorney is not helping you with, I know that's something you can help with. But we even just getting somebody to think about it is a big step. Then you go to the plea process. Where would you have given yourself at that stage?
Uh, I had no planning whatsoever. I remember walking into my attorney after discovery, and he explained to me why I have to accept the plea, why going to trial would be a fiasco for me, explaining the problems of me being in an inner city jury in Philadelphia, the perception that the jury would have of me, the perception that the prosecutor would paint of me, and that while totally irrelevant to the facts of my case, that in this situation and in most situations, perception rules the day. And because of that, and it's very unfair, he explained, but because of that, I have no choice but to accept the plea, because the ramifications of not accepting a plea were too substantial.
And
So at
so, go ahead.
so at that point, I uh, understood what I had to do. I didn't understand how that would affect me. I didn't understand how that would affect any potential prison term I had or any outcome, but I understood that I had no choice but to pursue that.
Okay. So then go to the next question on our list, which is the mitigation process. Tell me where you would have put yourself in that realm.
I didn't even know one existed.
Okay.
So it's not even a matter of
So what's the point?
points.
What's the point number?
0.
Okay, good. 0. And then go to the next one, which is character references. Where do you stand on that front?
I asked my attorney what to do. He said, get as many as you possibly can and just have them send it to me and I'll take care of it. There was no understanding of what needs to be part of it, who are the best characters or reference letters to get, or any guidance to give anybody. It was collect as many as you can, have them sending to me. So towards maybe 2 or 3 weeks prior to my sentencing is when I reached out to everybody and they sent in what I later learned was a very generic letter.
Okay. And the next one is your allocution. What do you know about that? Which one of those comments is most applicable to you?
Can you go into the negatives? I was told by my attorney, don't worry, get up, be remorseful, be respectful, admit that you did wrong, that it was the first time this ever happened, that you'll never do it again, that you were a good member of society, that you had that you were drinking too much at the time, which was consistent with my pre-sentence report, but do you accept responsibility? Now, Michael, I can clearly remember after I spoke basically on an ad lib basis for about 10 minutes. My judge looked down at me and he said, Mr. Mangle, I've been on this bench for over 20 years and have sentenced over 1,000 people. You are exactly why I hate white collar criminals. I expected so much more out of you, but you were no different than a vagrant who came in front of me. Therefore, I'm going to do something I rarely do, and I'm going to give you an upward departure. While my guidelines were about 12 to 18 months, he gave me 60 months. So to say that I was unprepared for both the pre-sentencing narrative, but certainly my sentencing narrative would be an understatement. And when I talk to people now, I stress two things, that they each get, a defendant gets one bite at the apple, only one bite, the pre-sentence report and how that plays into sentencing. They blow either one of them, their outcome will certainly be affected.
So you've got a couple of other areas there besides those two that I think people need to be thinking about as well. And that's why I wanted you to have this tool. And I finally figured out how to unfreeze the screen so that we could actually look at some of the options there on each one. And I take it you can see it now if I focus
Yes.
on knowledge of process. So
Yep.
It's no different than if you're preparing for a career or a business. You've got to be thinking about where you are in the knowledge of the process. And, ideally where you want to be is in that scale of 9 to 10 points where I know exactly what is going to happen at every stage of this process. If you're not there, then it makes a lot of sense to be talking to you, Sam, and saying, well, what should I know? Because if I don't know, I can't prepare for it, right? But you said that you were much closer over here. I'm going to get around to learning, but I'll wait until I get more news from my attorney. And sadly, a lot of times that news is just not forthcoming. So you were going to say?
I can't tell you how many people I speak to that tell me, don't worry, my attorney told me they take care of everything.
Sure.
Until they're sentenced and I get the phone call back saying, I had no idea this could happen. What can I do now? And at that point, unfortunately, it's a bit too late. And sure, we can help them with prison preparation, but I strongly believe our goal is to mitigate that as much as possible.
So, and they can help themselves. I mean, you give a lot of free information away, but one of them is just getting them to the point of understanding what can I be doing. And so this, gives these different options here. It's a self-assessment tool that anybody can go through. They just put, what their number is here. If it's a 3 here, if it's a 7 here, there's no right or wrong answer. There's no pressure to get it right. They just plug whatever it is. And if they get down to the bottom, right, after you give them the tool, then they kind of get an idea of where they are, okay, where they are on this scale. And sadly, many of the people, I think, are in that same situation that you were in, Sam, where they get down there and they just say, I just wasn't prepared because I didn't know. And if they don't know, they end up with a score like a 42. And we both know that a score of 42 when you're preparing for the most important segment of your life is not going to get you the best possible outcome. It's far more important to be thinking about this early. And this tool, I think, helps somebody get there organically.
Right.
And again, if they go to the website, from your email, they don't have to take our word for it. they can watch that video where they're listening to federal judges talk about what the judges would like to see people do. And I think that you could use these tools to communicate better. You could actually do kind of like an exercise with them where they have it open on their screen, you have it open on your screen, and you kind of go through each cell and then talk about the ramifications about, okay, how do we do this? Why does this make a difference? What can I do to get stronger? And I know you and our entire team are really good at that. And I just wanted you, I wanted you to be aware of that tool. So when you send your email out to people, rather than sending the spreadsheet, you might also send them a link to the actual web page so they can see the video of the judge if they choose to watch it. I mean, there's an old saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Give them the information, give them as much as you possibly can for free. And there's a possibility that somebody will want to talk to you at some point. And if they do, let them know that you're available to help. I think that what we could do, though, Sam, is we could do these live conversations every day if you want. And if somebody wants to jump on and join us, you could respond to their questions. And it's just a way for us to populate our program with more content that will help people that may want to just do it on their own. And I'm comfortable with that. All right.
Sounds good. Yep.
So
thank you, Michael.
So Sam, why don't before we go, see if I can put on there a banner that would show I should have done this at the start. I should have done this at the start, and I'm sorry that I didn't. I want to create a banner that says Sam at prisonprofessors.com there. And then I think I can show that banner. That's what I should have been showing from the beginning the whole time, but at least it'll show up now, and we'll get better at this next time.
Sounds good.
So that people can contact you and you can respond to their questions. And this will be on our Facebook page. It'll be on our YouTube channel live as soon as I hit end this broadcast, or maybe it's live right now. Frankly, I don't know. We'll get better at this. We've got a lot of access and tools. I'm super enthusiastic about the projects we're building together, and I just want to thank you for doing the part of being that front guy that's
Thank you, Michael.
talking to people. Thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right.